Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome back. I hope you're having a lovely night. Let's see here. Let's get you a different picture here. So, all right, there we go. All right, guys, welcome to my channel. My name is GamerDude Tech Dude. Coming at you live tonight. This is going to be a special Tech Talk Gaming edition. I'm about to talk about all things tech, all things gaming, and I hope you enjoy the show. But before we start, please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell notification icon, because it's the only way that you'll know when I go live. Alright, so let's get right into it. So I've been pricing on different gaming systems that are out there, looking for all the different bells and whistles and see what's good out there. And I must admit, there are some pretty good prices right now going on gaming laptops. For some reason, and I don't know if this is just because they're trying to sell laptops because they're not doing so well, or they just have an abundance of them. But I'm looking at some of these specs for these laptops and comparing them to with the desktops, you know, the towers. And some of those towers are ranging anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 for the exact same thing that I'm looking for in laptops, which kind of prompted me to kind of look for a laptop. Laptops are mobile, laptops you can take anywhere with you, and a lot of them are upgradable in terms of memory and bigger size hard drives. So it kind of, got me to thinking, well, I mean, I already have a desktop, so I just kind of wanted to look at different types of laptops that you can get out there. And of course, I will be talking about the brand new RTX 3000 series GPU video cards. We'll be talking about those because those just came out into the market. So I believe that Best Buy has got a special, they got a special promo going out right now. A pretty darn nice laptop, although I'm hearing different mixed reviews about the video card and the processor kind of being a bottleneck with each other. So we'll dig into that in the future, and we'll also discuss a little bit about that. Anywho, I saw this unbelievable laptop. I believe it was, I don't know if it was Asus or MSI. It was a gaming laptop with 16 gigs of memory, a 512 gigabyte SSD drive. It had a 3060 RTX graphics card, and I think it was either an i7 10th or 11th generation CPU, which I thought was, and it was retailing for around $1,100, which that is not a bad price with a really strong graphics card and stuff like that. But when I was reading the reviews, I was reading about people complaining about how the processor and the GPU, the video card, was a bottleneck with each other. And of course, bear in mind that when you're using ray tracing on any graphics card, that I would think you would get a little bit of frame rate drops. It just depends. Usually about 30, maybe 40%, as opposed to not using ray tracing. So if you were getting, say, 120 frame rate, or even 60, if you kick on your your ray tracing, you're probably going to get a less, more around like maybe 25, maybe 30% packet loss, or not really packet loss, but loss in your frame rate, which is understandable because you're getting better picture quality, better image, better everything pretty much. So you're really going to have a pretty powerful PC. And in some cases, you really want to try to shoot for a 32 gigs of memory, especially when you get into that. 16 you can get by, but 32 is really like probably the soft spot at this point, especially with the higher end and more powerful graphics cards as they come out. I mean, you can get by with a 16 megabytes of memory with a 2060, and we're going to get into that a little bit too. The 2060 you can probably get by with 16 gigs of memory with no problem. But as you go higher and as you have more graphics going on in the background, it's going to consume a lot more memory, especially when you're on the higher resolutions, maybe like 4K and whatnot. So bear that in mind. And even with the VR headsets and whatnot, because a lot of these VR headsets work with these stronger graphics cards, that will also be a little bit of a bottleneck too as well. So maybe that's it. Maybe they just don't give you enough memory. So anywho, do you need a 3060 graphics card? Well, you know what they always tell you, never to jump too quick on technology. Maybe wait 6 months to a year to see how well it's going to do before jumping the gun. Because right now, the 2060s and even the 2070s are so darn cheap that they pretty much run any game that you throw at it. So, and we're talking, you know, the highest resolution with the highest details and stuff. And a 2060 and a 2070 will not chuck. So if I were you, then this is just coming from my suggestion, I would hold off on the 3000 series RTX graphics cards. Just so that it gives us people enough time to benchmark these and see what is the best out there for you, what's pretty much the best bang for the buck, because you don't want to go out and want to spend a ton of money on something that's going to be a bottleneck for your gaming. You're going to want something that's going to be powerful enough and be stable for your gameplay. Let's face it, that's what we look for in terms of having a strong gaming PC these days. So you can do one or two things. One, you can go with 1050, 1060 Ti. Those are very nice graphics cards. They pretty much run anything that you throw at those. Only difference is you do not have ray tracing, but they're excellent for VR and they're excellent for gaming if you're not, you know, too keen on the ray tracing part. If you want to wait for the ray tracing, then I would probably go a step up to like a 2060 or 2070. Unless, of course, you have the money to throw away and you want to get the 3000 series. But that's totally up to you. I'm just telling you what I would do. Now, of course, if I had the money and I had the cash to buy the new stuff and test it out myself and run the benchmarks, then I probably would get myself a 3000 series graphics card. But I'm the kind of person that likes to wait a little while, and this goes with anything tech-wise. I always like to wait a while before I get into something. So, I mean, if you want to get into an entry level and have a decent gaming system that will run pretty much anything, and you could probably save yourself a couple $100, then I would look no further than the 1050 or the 1060 GTX graphics cards, the Ti series, the Titanium series. Very good graphics cards. They're very good, well, drivers. They pretty much run any game that you throw at it, and you're going to get excellent frame rates. Anything from 100 to above. So if you're not into the ray tracing and you want to hold off a while, and ray tracing is not your thing, let's face it, it's kind of like the difference between 1080p and 4K. The human eye can only see so much. So keep that in mind. You know, it just depends what your budget is, and if you do want to go ray tracing, like I said, a 2060 and 2070 graphics cards, the RTX cards, are very, very nice. They're very nice graphics cards. And I wouldn't get anything less than 16 or 32 gigs of memory. And you at least want to get an SSD drive of 512 megs or more. I prefer a terabyte because, let's face it, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, with all the add-ons and the DLCs, it's going to take up a lot of space. So if it were me, I would try to at least get myself a 512 megs SSD drive, or get yourself a terabyte. They are dropping in price as well, so keep that in mind as well. So the first things, I would get yourself either a 1050 or 1060, a 2060, 2070, or if you want to get the brand new 3000 series. I don't know too much about the 3060 or the 3070 series. I would have to read more about them and look at the benchmarks before I can voice my opinion about those. So, and I would try to go with a AMD Ryzen 7 or an i7, at least a 10th generation, if not 11th generation CPU. You will not go wrong with those. Both are very good for gaming and will give you pretty much a good experience. Now with the 3000 series, everything's changing in PCs, consoles these days. You're lucky to even get 4 to 5 years out of them. So keep that in mind as well. The 2060s, 2070s are still very good cards. I can still see a few years usage out of those, because a lot of people have those graphics cards. And for future proof, you could get yourself pretty much 4 or 5 years out of those. So, you know, if the 3000 series is not for you and you want to not spend it, they're pretty much pretty comparable in price. I think they're like maybe $150 more than the 2000 series. But I would be more interested in the benchmarks, you know, versus the 2000 versus the 3000 series, which I'm sure we're going to see a lot of in the near future. So keep that in mind. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, everybody says that they would get a desktop over a laptop. For me, it's all about being able to travel around and being mobile. And today's gaming age, it would be nice to have something that's compact and you carry around with you. I've even been looking at the I've been looking at some I actually saw on Amazon, it was a mini PC box that had an i7 in it, 512 gigs of memory, and had a really powerful it was a Radeon chip, which is ATI, which I think is, yeah, it's owned by ATI, I think, yeah. Or AMD, actually. AMD owns ATI now. But anyways, it's a Radeon chipset, mobile chipset, and apparently it's a really strong graphics card. And I think that it has like 16 gigs in it. I would be very interested in it. It was like a little over $1,000 for that. And of course, you would need, it supports up to 6 monitors on that thing. Oh yeah, it was a really powerful little box, you know. And I mean, I would be interested to check that out if, you know, if I could. I would definitely check that out, because you can have 6 monitors hooked up to that, TVs or whatever. So, I mean, that would be just totally awesome. I'll post all these show notes in the links below after I get done doing this video. But it was a really cool looking little mini PC. I'm just like, that's a little powerful. It's just as good as a desktop. I was like, holy crap. So, so that's my vision of, or my review and my my suggestions. I mean, if it were me, I mean, obviously if I had the money, I would definitely check out the 3000 series. But if I was looking just to getting into gaming, and right now, the 1650s and the 1660s are just as much as some of the 2060s that I've been pricing, you know, doing a price range on the PCs I've been looking at. So if it were me, if I could get a 2060 for the same price I get a 1650 or 1660, I would definitely go with ray tracing. And that would be the only reason to, because the price is pretty comparable. I mean, I found a laptop for just a little over $1,000 US. It was an Asus, and it had a 2060 graphics card with 16 gigs of memory, and it also had a 512 megabyte, or I mean, excuse me, gigabyte SSD drive. I think it was an NVMe. It was, so it was like the high standard hard drives or SSD drives. Then the nice thing is with Amazon, you can go and you can customize it. I decided I wanted to just to check to see what the price difference was. It was over going to cost me like with tax and everything, it was going to be like 1,100 something. So by the time what I did was I added an additional SSD drive, another 512, which would bring up the total space of 1 terabyte, which means I could literally have like the one partition would be like my Windows operating system, and my other one would be for like strictly for my gaming. So I was kind of like looking at those, and it brought it up to like a little above $1,200. And I was just like, that's a really powerful system, laptop for the price. And like I said, for some reason, I did price the desktops comparable to what I was looking at the laptops, and for some reason, the desktops were more. I don't understand. Maybe it's they pretty much have the same parts. They have the same drives. They have the same memory. Have the same specs, and yet they were like more than like $400 or $500 more than the laptops. And I was just like, wow, I couldn't believe it. I'll have to check more into it as we go along through the weeks ahead. So we'll check into that. Hold on a second. Hang on a second, folks. I'll be right back. Alright guys, sorry about that. Something came up. So anyways, I've been pricing a lot of these laptops and a lot of these desktops and trying to figure out as to why the desktops are so much more. I will do research on it because I'm finding out that a lot of these laptops have the same specs as the desktops, which I find kind of odd. So I'll look into that, find out why. But my guess would be they're not selling as much laptops as they are desktops, so that could be one of the reasons why. So, also one of the things you want to look into before buying a laptop is, we know that cooling is a big factor in terms of having a laptop for gaming. So my suggestion is to buy one of those, they're like fan pads that sit underneath the laptop. Some of them, you can use them as a stand. They retail for around $30. And you can either get one with 4, 5, or 6 fans. And what you do is you set the laptop on top of it and use it as a stand. And I would suggest you get one that comes with 2 USB ports, because bear in mind that you're going to have to use a USB port when you use the fan pad, and it's going to take up one of your USB slots on your laptop. So keep that in mind. Make sure that if you get a fan pad for a laptop, or whether they come a fan dock, make sure that you get one that has 2 USB ports. So keep that in mind, because a lot of them don't. I do have that in my list, and I will share that again in the show notes. So be sure to check out the show notes. In the meantime, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you like this video. And I thank you all for being here. And don't forget to hit the bell notification icon so you'll be notified when I go live. Because I do not pre-record, and I do not do pre-shows prior to this. Everything that I do is live. So, anyways, let's see what else is out there in the news. We covered pretty much the gaming scene and everything. Oh, there's some news out there for you gamers. Battlefield 6 is being in the works. Not too much is being leaked out right now. I will keep everybody updated and posted when I find out more information about it. But from what I hear, some of the criticism is getting right now, they say that's a lot like Call of Duty. But we won't really know until the final beta comes out, or the final product comes out. So I'm hoping that they outdid themselves, because in many ways Battlefield failed in so many ways. Let me explain. Because when Battlefield 2 came out, it was like, oh wow, what a great game. You had all the elements of the battlefield. You had all the elements of war. You had all the elements of pretty much everything. And what I mean by that is, when I say elements, I'm talking about in terms of fighting, combat, war. I mean, you had planes, jets, helicopters, and of course, we have that in just about every version of Battlefield that came out. When Battlefield 3 came out, I liked it, but there are some things I was kind of disappointed, like artillery. Artillery was so much fun in Battlefield 2. Being able to rain down artillery on a base or something that you're trying to take over or defend. And the ability of having commanders was really the turning point in that game. Having a commander command the battlefield, or the commander will drop supplies for your team or your squad, or he would drop down artillery for your squad, or vehicles for your squad. It just, a commander was like a big thing in that. And when they kind of got away from that, it kind of changed my attitude towards the Battlefield gaming scene, because Battlefield 2 was the turning point for me as a gamer, where it had all the elements and everything that I wanted. So it became like my to-go game when I played every time. And now, honestly, it's been sort of Call of Duty, because Call of Duty has gotten into the battle royale kind of thing with Warzone and all, and then plus you have zombies with the new expansion, and then you have the the Modern Warfare side of things. So you get more guns, you get more customizations on your weapons, and it's kind of like became the to-go battle game right now, because it does have somewhat a full-blown Battlefield kind of feel to, like one of the mods. I forgot the name of it, but they have a mod in there that is pretty much like Battlefield. So it's a lot of fun. Only thing is, you don't have you have perks, of course, but you don't fly helicopters, you don't fly jets and stuff like that and whatnot. But you do have perks, so or kill streaks. So those are kind of like your other your side things that you can do, which is a lot of fun. I give Call of Duty is a lot of fun. I mean, I just would be interested to see how Battlefield 6, when it comes out, if that's what they're going to call it, see what the elements are going to be that they're going to do, as opposed to what Call of Duty is doing right now. So they're really going to have to step up to the plate, I think, because right now, let's face it, I think Call of Duty holds all the cards. because they got Battle Royale, which everybody is into. It's got all the elements of, mostly all the elements of fighting, and I mean, you got tanks and stuff like that in it too, things you can drive around in. So it's going to be very interesting to see how EA Dice or Origin, how they come out with their version of. I mean, they're really going to have to outdo themselves. That's how I see it, in order to get the gaming population to at least, buy the game and play it. Because with Battlefield 5 right now, I like Battlefield 5. It has a little bit of it already has like a Battle Royale kind of feel to it. So, and I don't necessarily know if having Battle Royale in the Battlefield games is really needed, because people are already playing Conquest, which are already pretty much large maps. And you can already have a squad of 4, 5, or 6, or I think it's 4. You have one for each. You can have one of each class. You can have a medic, and you can have a support. You can have recon, and So, is Battle Royale even needed in Battlefield? So, I think, because when I play Battlefield 5, I see that their Battle Royale version is not being played that much. People are mainly playing Conquest. So, people like all-out war. If you're going to go play Battlefield, let's face it, you want all-out war. You want the planes, you want the jets, you want the tanks, you want the Humvees. You want the works, no matter what. That's what you want. That's what you're playing the game for. So, it's going to be a game changer for them. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do with that game and how they're going to compete with Infinity Ward and Activision. To see how it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to outdo themselves, or Blizzard more or less now. So it's really going to be interesting to see how Battlefield versus Call of Duty. So that's going to be like the main release that's coming out sometime this year. They are going to come out with some new DLC for Guild Wars 2 that I'm told, although we're not being told too much about it, but there is some good, a little bit of news that's coming out. We're going to be visiting an old factions. If you've ever played Guild Wars factions, it's going to take us back to that part in the game. But that's all we know. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be another expansion coming out for Guild Wars 2. So those two, that one game and the expansion, are two things I'm kind of like looking out for right now. Not really too much anything else, although that Call of Duty said that they're going to come out with another expansion. So I don't know how many expansions they want to come out with. I think they outdid themselves already with Modern Warfare and the Black Ops series. So they already have zombies. You've already got Modern Warfare, plus you got Warzone. So I really don't know what they're going to do more. So, how much more can you do when you've already pretty much done everything, right? So that's going to be kind of interesting to see. So, anyhow, so that covers the gaming part as much as I know that's coming out. So, be on the lookout. These, like I said, gaming hardware is dropping in price. SSDs have dropped in price. Memory has dropped in price. Graphics cards, laptops. I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen too much price drops in desktop computers, desktop PC, gaming PCs. I think that has to do with the people not buying as many laptops. Oh, another thing I want to touch base on, if you are going to buy a desktop, it is your choice whether you want to go with liquid cooling or go with the fan-based CPU fan. Totally up to you. Although I've heard some just ironic stories about a lot of the cooling systems that are out there causing all kinds of problems. Causing the PCs to blue screen crash, the drivers crash, the game's not working properly. So if you want to go with liquid cooling, Excuse me, folks. All right, sorry about that. I was checking something. I thought I heard something outside. So, it's totally up to you whether you want to go with cooling or you want to go with stock fan. I know that there are some very good CPU fans out there. Coolmaster, Corsair. I mean, there's a lot of them. I can name a ton of them that will do just as a good job, if not better, than liquid cooling. Liquid cooling will probably be your safer bet if you're getting into overclocking and you want to run things cool while overclocking. But then I would really check into and read the reviews on liquid cooling, because you want to make sure that you get something that's not going to cause your PC to crash and it's going to cause your games to crash and whatnot. Because I have a friend that had cooling, and he had nothing but issues with it, so he pulled that sucker out and put in a really good CPU fan, and he hasn't had any problems since, and he's playing everything. So, just keep that in mind. I don't know if it's something flaky. I think it might have something to do with drivers, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was drivers he was having trouble with, but he was just having all kinds of issues, and he just said, you know what, forget this. I'm just going to, take the loss, how much I paid for it, and just put a really good CPU fan on there. And make sure you have adequate fans on your case too. Usually you want to have an intake and an exhaust fan. Usually you want to have like maybe 2 or 3 fans in the front and maybe 1 or 2 in the back, because the purpose of it is getting that airflow to go through all your devices and all your cards across the chip, your processor and everything, across your graphics, and to exhaust it out towards the back. So keep that in mind. I tell most of the gaming PCs that I build, I tell my customers, if you're going to build it, and they always ask me why. Why do you always reverse the fans? Because it's not the intake. You want to find a way to blow all that heat that you're getting from the graphics card, the CPU, the GPU, the hard drive, everything makes heat. So you want to find a way to blow off all that heat towards the back. And your first thing that you want to do is you want to get to exhaust out to the back of the computer. That's the whole point. And having 2 or 3 in the front, 2 or 3 in the back, you're getting that stream that's going to come through the front of the computer, across all your devices, and blow out the heat to the back. So, and in some cases, you can even leave the side case off too, if you really want to keep it cool. I know a lot of people that take off the side case and they'll dedicate like a small little fan, like one of those oscillating fans, and you can pick those up for like $20, and he'll put that thing right on the floor with the case off, the side case off, blowing right on the components, and he's getting like 15-20% cooling on that. It's just unbelievable. So that's something else you can consider. But a lot of people don't like to expose their insides, but that's always another option. Even if it's easy for you to just open the side door or whatever on the case, then why not? So it's totally up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do in terms of keeping your PC cool. I've never been too much of a fan of liquid cooling. I never really, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of having liquid running through all my expensive parts. I know, maybe I'm just being paranoid. I don't know. I don't really like having liquid around my parts that are inside my PC. Because what happens if one of those hoses ever bust? What happens if, I don't know. Maybe I'm worrying too much about it, but that's just me. Don't take that from me. Just, do what you want. But I'm just, like I said, this channel is just for suggestions and what you guys would like to do. So, but cooling is a very important thing of keeping your PC running cool when you're running high-end games with high graphics, especially with the ray tracing cards that are out there today. So to keep that in mind. And you know, with today's SSD drives are so fast, and even the graphics cards are so fast, it's just it causes everything to move a lot quicker, which in turn causes everything like friction, causes it to get hot, to heat up. So you want to find a way to blow off that heat as soon as possible, as quick as possible when you're gaming. So keep that in mind. And that's pretty much, I think I pretty much covered everything in the tech world. I am in the process. I did a video earlier on the mini PC. I'm quite happy with that little thing. It's pretty much running everything I throw at it. It's not made for gaming, although I do have ShadowTech on it, which is a gaming streaming cloud service, and I'm quite happy with that. It runs every game that I play on it. I am testing a little memory stick on it. It's an SDXC card. It's an off-brand, but remember I am with Amazon Vine, so I get these things and I test them out. It's a 128 gigabyte SD card, so that's in my mini PC that I'm testing out as well. So I'm testing on both of those, and I will be doing a review on the SD card itself, probably today, or I mean tomorrow or the next day. So because I've been, you know, doing read-write speed and stuff, and so far it's been pretty darn stable. I went from SD card to SSD, and it was pretty quick over the network and over 5G, and I was really surprised. I kind of want to do some more testing, because we all know how generic stuff is as opposed to name brand stuff. So I'm testing this out, so be on the lookout for that. We'll be doing, I'll put that in the show notes as well. So in the meantime, I'll post the some of the really good deals I saw on some laptops. I don't know if I'm going to post any desktops unless I find a really good deal. Like I said, these desktops are like going around for like $2 to $3K, and I'm just like, I don't know where they're getting these prices, and they're pretty much the same components as these laptops. So I find that very interesting. I don't know if it's because of the expansion, the expandability, but I don't think that's entirely it, because on some of these laptops I find out you can add an SSD drive, you can add more memory. So I really don't get why the desktops are more than the laptops right now. Like I said, I'll have to check into that. I don't know why I don't know if maybe it's just an Amazon thing, but I'll have to go to like Newegg and some of the other places and find out what the desktops, how much they are versus the laptops. So anyways, guys, I'm going to end the stream now. I hope you enjoyed the show. This is my first gaming tech talk. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I got a couple more streams coming up in the near future. I don't know if I'm going to do them tomorrow or the next couple days. So be sure to like and subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you know when one of those days I go live, you'll get notified. So, you know, be sure that you check the bell icon, and you know, when you use like and subscribe. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for watching my show. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. Again, this was a talk show based on tech gaming, and just some of the things I wanted to touch bases on. And I hope to see you folks again, and have a lovely night, and take care.